Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash. And the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his unbegotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashkodash, the Holy Tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim Akmaf, and I say Shalom. And this is a prophecy update as of February the 9th, 2026, on this Monday afternoon. And this is from RT.com. It says UK propose a northeast drone fleet to target tankers. This says Ukraine to launch armed exports. Zelensky reports Iran afloats nuclear enrichment compromise. The EU needs to run itself off of Visa and MasterCard bank, chief reports. Israel moves to tighten grip on West Bank. Right, because you've been seeing a lot of hostilities and tensions been heating up over there in the West Bank. You know, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, the Palestinian territory, because you've been having the resistance of the Palestinians going against the Israel Defense Force, which has been going on for quite a while, which we're so used to seeing that, but it's only going to continue to increase. So expect to see the resistance of the Palestinians continue going against the Israel Defense Force, and the pro-Iranian groups going against the Israel Defense Force as well too. Like I said, that was that Luke 21 verse 25. Since I mentioned that, I got that Luke 21 verse 25. And this is the book of Luke 21 and verse 25. It reads, it says, there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, disgressive nations with perplexity rich wrong. Right, so that's what we're seeing, increasing disgressive nations with perplexity rich wrong. It says the Western network plotting coup in Belarus, Russian intelligence reports. Because you're right, you've been seeing, I would say Russia and Belarus, you know, they've been allies of the ongoing tensions that they've been having against the Western countries and the European Union and NATO. Keep that in mind as well too. So read that again, Luke 20 verse 25, and there shall be signs in the sun and upon the stars. Yep, it says there shall be signs in the sun. Yep, it says there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, disgressive nations with perplexity which wrong. Right, so we're going to see more and more of the disgressive nations with perplexity which wrong. We're seeing signs of that. Get to the second Ezra. And in verse 3, it's the book of second Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes in the uproars before world, right, more increasing earthquakes in the uproars before world that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis, and that's only going to continue to increase. As it says again, it says a Russian Western network plot coups in Belarus, Russian intelligence reports. Read that news article. It says foreign NGOs are allegedly preparing a color revolutionary target Moscow's key ally. Western NGOs preparing a new wave of anti-government protests in Belarus, which could concluded in the 2030 presidential elections. The Foreign Ministry Intelligence Service (SVR) warned on Monday any attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 elections led to violent clashes through the country, but order was eventually restored. According to the SVR, Western sponsors were disappointed in the leaders of the riots and are actively looking for a new people to try and topple Belarus's president Alexander Lesko, if I pronounce his name right. It says the NGOs in the Western nations, including decriminalize the structure in agencies, Germany, Poland, and other European nations are building up its assets to gain attempts to destabilize the situation and change the constitutional order in Belarus. Right, so we definitely see the Western-backed countries, if this is true, because you've been having, you know, as I mentioned again, you've been having ongoing tensions between with the Russia-Ukraine situation, and then, you know, the Western countries that support and backs the European, the European Union, NATO versus Belarus and Russia. Yep, so we're going to be seeing more signs of that. Once again, second Edge and verse 3, there shall be seen earthquakes in the upwards of the world. So we're going to be seeing disgrace of nations with complexity rich one, like it says in Luke 20, verse 25. And we're going to be seeing the increasing of the upwards people world. So I'm going to go to time of Israel. And it says this is from the time of Israel and reports from the TOI staff. It says updated 7 minutes ago. It says Indonesian troops said to be prepared to be deployed to southern Gaza in coming weeks. Because you've been having heavy tensions been heating up between the Israel Defense Force against the resistance of Palestinians. Yeah, because I'm kind of surprised that Indonesian troops going to be deployed over there in the southern Gaza Strip. It says several thousands Indonesian troops are expected to deploy in the Gaza in the coming weeks. The KAN uh, public broadcast reports. The prime minister officially did not respond to reports of his comment. The Indonesian soldiers will be the first members of the international stabilization force to reach Gaza. There is no there is no set date for this arrival. The forces will live in the southeast of Rafah, according to the report. It says officials are living quarters will be built for the forces in the coming weeks. In November, Indonesia's defense minister has said that the country has trained up to 20,000 troops to take on the health and construction related tasks. And Indonesia's officials told reporters that the president, Prabowo Substantial, was invited to attend the February 19th Board of Peace meetings in Washington, but has not decided whether he will make the trip. And it says Hamas threatens Gaza's collaborating with Israel after a gang leader taunts family of slain Rafah gunmen. Right, because you're gonna have some in between tension between the officials of Lebanon and Hezbollah as well too. Because I believe you had the officials from Lebanon, saying they disarmed some of the weapons from Hezbollah, and Hezbollah was saying they're not going to fully disarm themselves because you're still going to have nuclear strikes from the Israel Defense Force targeting the headquarters over there in Lebanon. So you're still going to have tensions heating up over there in that area, and that's what you call progressive nations with complexity rich one, and that's why you still got that second Edge verse 3 of course people will. Now I'm going to bring out that Matthew's the 24th chapter. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 6. It says, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. So that's what we hear on a daily basis, wars and rumors of wars. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right, so we're gonna see the wars, rumors of wars. They're gonna come to pass, but we're not gonna end just yet. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, which goes into ethnos, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So we're going to see more and more nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Hey, we see in the Russia versus Ukraine situation. Hey, we got infighting tension between the European Union and NATO. And then you got, according to some type of Russian intelligence, that some type of Western-backed networks might interfere of certain things that's going on with Belarus. Belarus and Russia, because you've been having on and on back and forth tension between Belarus against the Western countries, the European Union, and NATO, right along with Belarus and Russia together. Matthews 24 and verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, right? Russia versus Ukraine, Iran against the Israel Defense Force, the resistance of the Palestinians going against the Israel Defense Force. So these are wars and rumors of wars. These are nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And these are progressive nations with complexity rich war. And these are upwards of people world that we're going to see on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we see in these war, evil, and the pestilence are increasing in our world today. Like it says in Jeremiah 20, verse 8, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So we're going to see more and more earthquakes in diverse places. the pestilence, the famines, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and the uptick on a daily basis of wars and rumors of wars. That's what we see. Check out some more news articles. Get back to the time of Israel once again. It says Israel moves to tighten grip on West Bank, right? Because you're still gonna have hostility intentions over there in that area. It says China calls on banks to limit exposure to U.S. debt. Bloomberg reports. Right. All right, let's go check out the news now. This is some more prophecy updates. Wadi Habashah. He said Trump lash outs at Bad Bunny's historical Super Bowl performance. He said one of the worst. Oh yeah, and what was that? I seen some type of I think on some YouTube channel that I had seen earlier this morning. It was talking about you had Bad Bunny was supporting the alphabet lifestyle, and then you had one of the leaders of Green Day. He was talking about he talked about he disapproved the ways of modern day Babylon and stuff like that. He talking about he disowned his citizenship and stuff like that, which they've been criticizing modern day Babylon great throughout the years. The music band and stuff like that. So you got the left versus the right. So and that's what we're seeing. Like it says in Saint Mark the third chapter. And then that caught my attention. When we was watching the Super Bowl, had the little alphabet lifestyle, the alphabet lifestyle drawings of the Super Bowl logo. They had little alphabet lifestyles and the little flag and stuff like that. So that shows that this is a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. So there's no new thing under the sun. This is the book of Luke 17, verse 28. And that's why it says, what's that second address, the 16th chapter? It says, woe be unto Babylon, Asia. But this is a modern day Babylon Greek, and this is a Luke, and this is a modern day spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. So we are in the days of Lot once again, and this is the book of Luke. Slovakia. Yep, this is the book of Luke 17 and verse 28. It says, likewise also that in the days of Lot they eat, they drink, they bought, they sold, they plant, they built. Right. So we are in the days of Lot once again. They plant, they sold, they built, they bought. Luke 17 and verse 29. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom and rained fire, brimstone, heaven destroyed them all. Because we know the Heavenly Father has left a covenant between him and the earth that he wasn't going to flood the earth no more. So we are in those days once again. So the Heavenly Father's going to come back with fire, just like he rained fire on ancient Sodom and Gomorrah. He's going to rain fire on modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Because there's no new thing under the sun. And this is the book of Matthew. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24. Yep, Matthew 24 and verse 37. But as the days of Noah, so shall also come the Son of Man be. Right, so just like in the days of Noah, so shall also come the Son of Man be. Matthew 24 verse 38. For as the days of before the flood, they were eating and drinking, given to marriage. Like the Super Bowl going on yesterday, a lot of people were eating and drinking, given to marriage, and still to this day. It says, for as the days of Noah, for as the days of before the flood, they were eating and drinking, given to marriage, and to the day that Noah entered the ark. Right, so they was eating and drinking, given to marriage. Just like that's happening once again these days. We are in the days of Noah once again. Verse 39. It knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also come in the Son of Man be. Right, so also the coming of the Son of Man be was Hamashiach, Yahushua. And so we are in the days of Noah once again. Verse 30. Yeah, verse 39, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also come in the Son of Man be. Right, so also come in the Son of Man be, which is Hamashiach Hamashiach. So we are in the days of Noah, we are in the days of Lot. Genesis the 19th chapter all over again. And Luke the 17th chapter once again as well too. So we are in the days of Noah, we are in the days of Lot, so there's no new thing under the sun. All right, check out some more news articles. I just want to add a sad note to that. It says Sudan UN's right chief says worse is to come without international action. Right, because throughout the years, recently, you've been having heavy clashes and tensions heating up over there in Sudan and South Sudan. They've been going through famines, increasing famines. Hey, what's that? Amos, the eighth chapter. It's going to be, Matthew's 24th chapter. There should be seen nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, the famines and pestilent plagues. Hey, so we're going to see more and more famines taking place in our world today. We're seeing more signs of that. So that's going to continue to increase. And right along with that, Amos, the eighth chapter, because it's going to be a famine of the word as well, too. It's like, what's that? Second Address 15 verse 5. Behold, said the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, that I will bring plagues upon the earth, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. That's something that will continue to increase, as I add sad to that. As I read that news article, it says from Sudan, the UN writes that the situation over there in Sudan is only going to get worse, which had been in previous years, and recently it's going to happen once again. It's the book of Amos, chapter 8, verse 11. It says, Behold, the days come, saith the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, that I will send a famine in a land, not a famine of bread, not thirst of water, but the hearing of the words of Yahweh. Right, so it's going to be an increasing famine of word for lack of bread, for lack of water, but the hearing of the words of Yahweh. Amos chapter 8, verse 12, and they shall run from sea to sea, from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro, try to seek the words of Yahweh, shall I find them. Right, many are going to run to and fro, try to seek the words of Heavenly Father, Yahweh, shall I find them. And it's going to be a famine of word. Get to that second address, since I mentioned it. So expect to see more heavy famines and pestilence that are going to be taking place in our world today. And this is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 5. It says, Behold, saith Yahweh, that I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Right, just like those heavy floodings took place over there in France. Heavy floodings took place over there in Italy or Sicily. What was that, last week? And then those heavy mudslides over there in Congo, and those heavy floodings that have been taking place in different parts around the world. So that's the heavy famines and pestilence are increasing around the world, especially those heavy pestilence that have been taking place over there in India. So that's only going to continue to increase. And that's the visitation from the Heavenly Father, Yahweh himself, like it says in the second Ezra, the 9th chapter. So we'll read that again. Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 5. It says, Behold, saith Yahweh, that I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, and destruction. Right, so that's something that will continue to increase. Now we get to that second Ezra, the 9th chapter. Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure out the time diligently in itself, what thou seest of parts of the signs past, which I had told before. Right, and these are the signs past, which the Heavenly Father has told before, because these are prophecies, they're going to come to pass and be fulfilled. And that's what we said in these times, prophecies, they're going to come to pass and be fulfilled. Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 2. Then thou shalt understand it is at very same time where in the highest was the Heavenly Father, Yahweh will begin to visit the world which he made. So we're going to see the Heavenly Father visit this earth with these tornadoes, earthquakes, landslides, floodings, famines, pestilent plagues. Because I believe you had like about three earthquakes. And because you had a 5.7 earthquake over there off of Mexico City. They had the sounding alarm on that. And then they had like a 5.7 earthquake over there in Chile. And then you had a 5.5 earthquake off of Cuba. So that shows you that we, start to see the Heavenly Father visit this earth with these earthquakes at an alarming rate. So we're going to see more tornadoes, earthquakes, landslides, floodings, famines, pestilent plagues, etc. So that's the visitation from the Heavenly Father going to visit this earth now, so more than ever. And this is
down the street. Oh, God, left the shade and bring some hemp off.
oh,
You see that piece hanging up? I see you something hanging up there. See that?
yeah.
Tell about wind blow it there, where it goes.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that internet down over there, that thing. It's down, they work together in the area.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Xfinity.
Mhm.
And that's why I was wondering why they had like certain outages in the area.
Yeah, that's what they do. Well, I read so, well, that's that stuff up there. We
Yeah.
fall down, I'll tell them.
Oh,
They don't really have cold out there now.
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, the temperature, they say it's gonna drop.
Yeah.
Still cold.
Yep, still cool.
No pit. He got on his girlfriend now.
Oh, yeah. Mm. Oh. It says, pray for my blood. Yeah, this is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 9 and verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, uproars, people war, right? So increasing earthquakes and uproars, people war that we're going to see on a day-to-day basis. All right, so let's switch up the topic from that. Check out some more news articles. It says U.S. forces chases fleet tanker ship across the Pacific Ocean. It says 13 people were unalive in a Italian mountains over last week Olympic start. Hey, what's that? Isaiah 45:7, Ecclesiastes 12:14. That's the judgment for me. How about you, Shai? It says a Turkey army chief says no plans to withdraw from Syria. Right, because that makes sense. Because you think about it, that goes right along with that Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Because Russia is going to be going to these nations: Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, and Turkey. Because you're still going to have the military bases of Turkey over there, Iraq, and Syria, and then they still going to be clashing against those proxy groups over there. And once they settle their difference against one another, then they're going to be going against the Israel Defense Force over there in Syria. You know, because you're still going to have military bases of Russia, because Russia is going to be teaming up with Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, and Turkey. And their main target is going to be the Israel Defense Force. Oh, such question. Yep, so we still gonna be seeing tensions heating up over there in the area. So I just thought about that since that news article. Yep, it says Turkey Army Chief says no plans to withdraw from Syria, and that goes right along with that Isaiah the 17th chapter, because you're still gonna have tensions heating up over there in Damascus over there in Syria. So you're still gonna have proxy wars over there, high tensions. You know, you're still gonna have the nations over there and over there in Syria, but you're still gonna have the tensions. You're still gonna have high tensions heating up over there in that region, especially over there in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, the Gaza Strip. So you're still gonna have tensions heating up all throughout that whole area. And this is the book of Isaiah. Since I mentioned that, then I'm gonna bring out the Ezekiel the 38th chapter. While we still got the Russian-Ukraine situations going on. Now, I believe it was a deadline from the administration over here in America that was action the Russia-Ukraine situation, give them a deadline to end it this summer. So we're going to see how that plays out. But in the meantime, despite the fact they're pushing forth a ceasefire, but you still have tensions heating up between Russia and Ukraine, Belarus and Russia. Belarus and Russia together versus the European Union and NATO. And this is the book of Isaiah. I'm just going to add a side note to that. And this is the book of Isaiah. So you got this current administration. They're trying to push forth to Turkey to be allies with Israel, which that's not going to happen. It's going to be a short period of time, and then they're going to, because Turkey going to be teaming up with Russia, and their main focus is going to be going against the Israel Defense Force, and going against the United States armies and their allies. Isaiah 17 verse 1, the burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being the city, and it shall be its roaring heat. Right, so Damascus of Syria is going to be taken away from being the city, and it shall be its roaring heat. As I've been mentioning this countless of times, even if I sound like a broken record player, but you're still going to have high tensions still heating up over there throughout Syria, throughout that whole area. So near Syria, near Damascus, over there, Damascus, southern of Syria, southwestern of Syria, northwestern of Syria, the southeastern of Syria. So throughout that whole region, you're still going to have high impact tensions and proxy tensions between the nations over there in the area. Isaiah 17 verse 9, it says, in that day shall his strong cities as be forsaken and brought in the uttermost branch, because they left, because the children of Israel, and it shall be desolate. Right, so that land is going to be desolate. Let's say if you have Ashimel Shai. And this is the prophet Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17. Now, despite the fact, I think it was like the day before yesterday, I think they started talks once again between the side of the United States and the side of Russia. They're trying to enter another nuclear treaty deal, which expired, I would say, 4 days ago, February the 5th. So you're still going to have tensions heating up more and more between Russia and the United States, and especially this nuclear arms race between the United States and Russia, despite the fact that it's having some type of dialogue and talks, but the tensions are still going to be there. And this is the book of Ezekiel. Yeah, this is Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Ezekiel chapter 34. Matter of fact, we start at verse 1. And this is the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 38 and verse 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 2, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and Magog, and chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Ezekiel 38, verse 3, and thus saith Yahweh Bashem Shai, behold, I am against thee, O God, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4, it says, Now return thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horse and horsemen, all of them cloth and swords and armor, and a great couple of bucks and shields, all men and swords. Right, so Russia, they still gonna be in that warlike mindset, and they still gonna be going against the Israel Defense Force. Russia's still gonna be going against the Western countries, the European Union, NATO, versus Belarus and Russia. And Russia is going to be going to these nations of Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, Turkey, because you still got military bases over there in Syria. They're going to be, even though they've been going against the proxy groups over there ever since 2015 all into now, over there in Syria. So they're going to settle their differences, because they're going to be teaming up with these dragons of Arabia, um, these proxy groups, the pro-Iranian groups, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. They're going to settle their differences. They are going to team up together. They're going to be going against the Israel Defense Force, because they're going to be that main target over there in Western Asia. Because you're still going to have an increasing cross-border conflict over there in the Golan Heights, over there in Israel, between the borders of Israel, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza Strip, West Bank, Palestinian territory. This is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4, because you still got the pro-Iranian groups. They still don't stand by to support Hezbollah and the pro-Iranian groups in Iran and etc. So that's why, once again, we're going to see tensions going to spark up once again between the proxy groups that support Iran. And you're still going to have tensions heating up between Iran and the Israel Defense Force, because these two nations are arch enemies. And Russia is going to be a guard unto them, as we continue to see the tensions on spark up once again over there in the Middle East once again. Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 5, it says, Persia, which is Elam, Ethiopia, the Cushites. Because I think it was like 2 weeks ago, you had Russian submarine ships was sailing through over there in Ethiopia, over there in Africa and the land of Ham. It says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, because you got military bases over there of Russia over there in Libya, so it makes perfect sense. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with all of them with shield of helmet. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 6, it says, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tokomo of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Right, so Turkey is going to be allies with Russia, and Russia is going to be a guard unto them. It says Gomer and all his bands, right? Because as the general, I think the general of army general over in Turkey say they're not gonna withdraw their troops over there from Russia. I mean, they're not gonna withdraw their troops over there in Syria. So they still gonna have military bases over there in Syria. Yep, Ezekiel 38 verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Tokomo of the north quarters and all his bands, many people with thee. Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 7, it says, be thou prepared, prepare for thyself and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Right, so Russia is going to be a guard unto them. And this is it's the book of Slovakia. Bring out this last scripture, then we'll close it out. This is the book of Revelations 11, verse 14. It says, the second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. Right, so the second will pass, behold, the third will come quickly. So hopefully this prophecy updates was edifying at February the 9th, February the 9th, 2026 on this Monday afternoon. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Wakakadash, and the Heavenly Father, which you name is Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Bahashem, in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai. Those are the true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashon tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Akima Akwaf. Until next time, I will say Shalom.